Audit the 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 Obama.
Wow. Holy memes. I don't comb my hair anymore. It's too long. I don't give a fuck. Stay mad. Oh, this guy.
So I guess we gotta talk about coffee makers now. Hi, you might have seen a video of mine on the mysterious lack of electric kettles in the United States. I made that video mainly because there's this pervasive idea that electric kettles don't make any sense here because our weedy little plugs are too little and weedy, which makes them slow at the whole water boiler business. But the fact is, unless you've got an induction stove, which aren't yet anywhere near what I would call common round these parts, an electric kettle remains the fastest and certainly most convenient way to boil water, especially for beverages. So I don't think it's fair to blame the electrical system on our ambivalence towards kettles.
Can you use a kettle to boil milk? Have you done any research on Fresh and Fit, or you're just going in blind? I'm probably just going in blind. I feel pretty amped up. I feel pretty ready to go.
I said that it's just because we don't drink tea all that much. Yes, there are other reasons you might want to use a kettle. As a matter of fact, tea is pretty far down the list of reasons I use mine. But for the record, I grew up calling this thing a tea kettle. And I'm not alone. Just take a look at this poll. Oh, come on. I was hoping for a better show.
Careful. Fit will pull a lot of facts and studies on you. Like what?
Showing than that. Actually, I just realized something. The American children's song, I'm a Little Teapot, is actually a song about a kettle. Teapots are for steeping the tea. They don't get all steamed up and shout. That's what a kettle does. See, we're really confused by this whole tea business, and it seems we have been since at least 1939. Oh, relatedly, I've heard from lots of Canadians who politely informed me that nearly everybody up there has an electric kettle. And in case you didn't know, they have essentially the exact same electrical system we do. So again, the plugs aren't the answer. Anyway.
Fuck, even while eating, I don't think I can watch this video. It's so boring. Oh no. I think the last season of Rick and Morty, which I think was season 2. Has it gotten any better? Because damn, season 2 is a huge step down from season 1.
Yes, gonna need a soundtrack. Ship, favorites playlist, track 1.
Rick, are we about to die?
No, we're about to vanish from this reality.
That's totally dying.
No, it isn't.
There's an alien army shooting people. What am I doing?
It's a small group of alien terrorists. Just do a Die Hard.
What does that mean?
Sneak around, use air vents. You've never seen Die Hard?
I'm 17. No, I've never seen Die Hard.
Well, neither did the guy in Die Hard, so you're nailing it.
Kind of found that funny again, but they're for sure chasing that season 1 hype. Season 1 was just such a perfectly good and rich and deep season of like stuff going on, and then it just kind of turned into like a XD random cartoon. I almost don't believe that it was like the same writer. It must have been, obviously, but it almost feels like it wasn't the same group of people. Season 2 was okay. No, season 2 was not even related. It was a totally different cartoon. Man, okay, people saying season 2 is good. Wait, am I not talking to Audit the Audit today? I'm not. Whoops, never mind. Isn't this all shows? No, it's not just all shows. It's that the nature of the cartoon fundamentally changed past season 1. Or at least in season 2. I don't know about 3 or 4. Jesus Christ.
Hola, mis amigos, ¿cómo están todos ustedes? Hoy, el 18 de septiembre de 2017, es un día muy importante. ¿Saben por qué? Porque es el día en el que me enteré de dónde viene el sabor de Gatorade Electric Blue, de la Laguna 69, en Perú. Viene directamente de ese...
Can you explain what changed or the difference? Fuck, I don't even remember the episodes. In season 1, I feel like every episode had like an unbelievably underlying wholesome theme attached. Like all of them sold like really important messages, like life messages, I think. And then in season 2, the underlying stuff went away and it just became XD random shit. That's what it felt like. Did season 1 have the episode with where Jerry goes to Pluto to say it's a planet or whatever? Was that season 1? Yes, that was a great episode. The interdimensional cable episode was a great episode. I have to go back and watch it. I just remember that most of these episodes were like, I feel like they had really good A and B plots. They like complemented each other's things really well. There were a lot of funny lines too. But season 2 was just so XD random. The wholesome message part is all from Dan Harmon trying to add structure. Yeah, did he just give that up past season 1? You hyped for House of the Dragon? God damn it. Don't. Just stop. Okay, I gotta finish my oatmeal before this talk. Fuck. Wait, what? Oh my god.
They just reopened LA County. Ooh, plane crash! Right behind us.
Okay. From zero to hero.
This is the story of Sebastian Malec. Sebastian was a 21-year-old Polish poker.
Reality is for people who can't face drugs.
Our next guest is one of the most distinctive writers and performers working today.
He's kind of a combination poet, jazz singer, and vagrant.
He is a mixture of Satchmo Armstrong and Humphrey Bogart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Waits.
How are you, Tom?
Oh, I'm better than nothing.
Yeah.
Where do you hail from professionally? Is it the Big Apple, as they call New York, I think, or is it Hollywood?
Yeah.
Or
I live at Bedlam and Squalor. You classify yourself as a poet or as a singer. Which one do you like to be classified as? I'm a Methodist.
How does a guy with a voice like that decide to be a singer and succeed?
Well, it was a choice between entertainment and a career in air conditioning and refrigeration.
Did you ever live in a car in L.A.?
Well, for a brief time, I think everybody's lived in a car.
It's kind of strange to have a guy sitting here with a bottle in front of him.
Well, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
In your high school, about the strongest drug that you'll find used there is pimple cream.
I've always maintained that reality is for people who can't face drugs.
There you go.
Well, you got people working for you and everything.
That's right. All of it. It never fails, Tom. I get, you can ask for anything you want in this show, and we'll have someone go out and get it for you.
Christ.
What was writing with Keith Richards like?
Well, you always finish something. You might finish the bottle. You might not finish the song.
What were your parents like, Tom?
My father was an exhaust manifold, and my mother was a tree. Do I worry about achievement?
Yeah.
No, I worry about a lot of things, but I don't worry about achievement.
No.
I worry primarily about whether there are nightclubs in heaven.
Nice. Fuck. I was actually just thinking of this line. They're just robots. Wait, hello?
Hello?
Why'd you drag Dan in here?
Why? Because this is to clear my bet with Dan. Did you forget?
I forgot that I was involved with this.
Yeah, you were involved with this, all right. Today we find out. The mantra around the Reddit is that Dan is never wrong, and today we see if that holds up.
This is the worst Audit the Audit. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
You're like an internet celebrity, and my first conversation is over this absolute dog shit topic. So that's awesome. Great.
Yeah, but it's not the same voice, though, so it's almost like,
What do you mean it's not the same voice? Wait, you're not the guy that does the voiceover on the channel?
I used to be, but I hired a narrator a couple of years ago. He does that now.
Holy shit! I feel like I've
Yeah.
been hoodwinked. It's like
Yeah,
the
see?
it's like the what was the true crime channel? Something Can't Swim. Oh God.
Jim Can't Swim.
Yeah, JCS. That guy isn't the dude. He's not even Jim.
No, he has a team. From what I understand, anyway. We were going to collaborate on a project a while back, but apparently he has a lot of things going on outside of YouTube too. So,
You ever feel like you're giving way too much power to this guy who does the voiceover? Like way too much power. Like it needs to be your voice so that you own the channel. But now it's like this other guy that owns it. Like he's on the hook.
You could go to Comic-Con with your logo and just be like, "I'm Audit the Audit."
No, but that's like
I'm
the people
voice that you recognize.
Unironically, that's like the people, like that's the person that you expect to have that voice there. It's so weird to give up. Why not just do it yourself, bro?
Well, at the time I had a medical issue that left me without. Yeah, I wasn't able to narrate for a while, and after him doing it for a while, I liked it the way he did it better. So.
Wow, medical issue. I bet you feel like a real piece of shit
I
now,
feel
Dan, huh?
really,
You feel really fucking horrible now.
Stupid right now. God, I was so insensitive. God damn it.
Oh, that's cool, dude. No worries. I mean, but I agree with the sentiment of what you're saying, and that's why I started the second channel, you know, that's more about me as a person and not the work I do at ATA.
Gotcha. Do you have this? I'm curious about this whole thing. So do you have this guy like on lockdown at all? Or could he just be like, you know what? I want to make 10 times as much moving forward.
He's just a contracted and, you know, like he's free to do any work he wants to outside of ATA.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
We're gonna hire him for voiceover shit, and then
yeah, I mean, shit.
Go for it. Go for it. I don't mind. I think that doing it that way, and you know, for one, I want him to, you know, I don't want to be the limiting factor in his narration career, you know, so I'm not trying to tie him down, but also I think him being known that he's just a narrator kind of helps my case that, you know, I'm the owner of this channel, not, you know, he just does the narration.
Fair enough. So what are we arguing about exactly?
Okay. Our bet was over whether or not, if you refuse the field breath test and the field sobriety test, and the cops take you down to the station, whether or not at that point it's already an automatic license suspension. And I've instructed Mr. Audit the Audit to
have
not
you already
give me
asked
the answer
him?
to this. No, I told him the bet, but I have told him not to tell me the answer until we get him on stream.
So I already know that I'm right. That if you refuse the field sobriety,
well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
If you refuse the field sobriety test, you like, yeah, of course you're fucked, and you won't blow right there on the street. That's goodbye fucking license, mate.
Okay, just so that we're ultra clear on this, so that we're all on the same page for Audit the Audit. So the question is, I'm driving suspiciously. An officer pulls me over and he says, I have a reason to believe you're drunk driving. And I say, okay. And he's like, will you do a breathalyzer? Will you do any field sobriety test? And I refuse both of those. I don't want to do anything. He's like, okay, well, I'm booking you and I'm going to take you to the station. Let's say that he takes me to the station and then they do whatever mandatory test they'll do there, a blood draw or whatever. I don't know what they can compel you to do. And then when they do that, they find out that I'm actually not intoxicated at all. Do I still lose my license because I refused the field sobriety test? That's the question.
Okay.
Keep in mind also, you can be DUI without alcohol. You could be fucking high on crack.
No one's talking about that. I don't know why you're making it complicated.
Wait, what do you mean? Hey,
what
do you mean? That absolutely
typical Dan stalling. Here we go.
No, because you're saying if you all of a sudden you're not drunk, so they're like, oh wait, you're not drunk.
What if it was raining 15
Wait,
minutes?
well, hold on. To establish
completely unreasonable.
Wait,
here.
to establish you're drunk, they would have to do a breathalyzer or something. You'd have to fail the field sobriety test or something.
It's not about being drunk. It's about being intoxicated.
Oh my
they can
God.
test for drunkenness. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, to be arrested for a DUI, they don't have to prove that you're drunk right then and there on the spot. They just have to have probable cause that you've been drinking, which means that they just have to have a reasonable, you know, basically a reasonable doubt or beyond that. So what I'm saying is, like, it doesn't matter if you know, you actually pass or fail a test right then and there. If they have the suspicion, they can take you whether or not they administer a test.
So you don't even have to refuse the field test for them to potentially feel like they have probable cause to take you down to the station. and
Exactly.
do a blood draw, urine test, or the sort of the breathalyzer machine.
Right.
Sure, because I imagine that like if you were to blow on the breathalyzer and pass somehow, and you would have passed the field sobriety test, but if like your eyes are bloodshot, you're driving like crazy, and your breath reeks of alcohol, I imagine they might still be able to pull you down. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're trying to establish, the first thing is let me set the scene for you, if you will.
I just gave you. Is there more we need? Just let him.
Your scene is not set. I'm going to give the new scene.
Oh my god!
I am driving on the highway. I'm a maniac. I'm all over the road. I get pulled over. Cop smells alcohol coming out of the car all over the place. Just huge. Smells like a bar. My eyes bloodshot. I literally, as I get out of the car, a whole thing. He says, "Sir, I suspect you're drunk. I'd like you to take a field sobriety test and blow into this thing." I said, "I ain't doing shit, man." He says, "Well,
okay,
sir,
all right, listen, I'm not letting you have your way. I came with receipts. I came with timestamps where we made the bet perfectly clear.
Just let
okay?
just let Audit go. Let him go. This is his thing.
Yeah,
okay?
let me just
let him go. Let him do it.
I feel like that would help. So what we're really talking about here is this concept called implied consent, right? And what that is this is essentially the terms that you agree to as a citizen when you take possession of your driver's license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of this agreement with the state, and all 50 states have implied consent laws, is that you agree to submit to chemical testing for a DUI. If you refuse to do that, the penalty for that is an automatic suspension of your license in all 50 states. Now, that sounds like really simple on the surface level, but there's a lot of depth to that concept, right? So, in 2009, there was a Supreme Court case that kind of took up the idea of like, does a chemical test, does it violate the Fourth Amendment? And the courts have basically concluded that there's this thing called an exigency exception when you're dealing with things that have to do with the Fourth Amendment and warrantless searches. And what's happening when your blood is taken is a search is happening of your body, right? So the thing is, though, is like the alcohol that is suspected to be in your blood, if you're suspected of a DUI or maybe whatever substance, it's only going to be there for a limited amount of time. So even if there wasn't an implied consent law, the officer could still, take a warrantless search of your blood just from the exigency circumstance, So his point would be, we have to take the blood now because, who knows in a few hours if the alcohol levels will still be the same.
Yeah, it could take like 2 or 3 hours by the time you're arrested before you're in the station and they can do the test again. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So,
anything else, Wicked Supreme, or do you just want to admit?
I feel like we didn't get an answer to the question.
He literally just gave you the question. It could be a few hours.
He said there are implied consent laws, and it can be an automatic license suspension if you refuse chemical tests. The bet was whether or not, if it is, not whether it can be, if it is an automatic license suspension, if you refuse the field breath test or a field sobriety test, but end up taking the chemical test at the station.
Yeah, you can refuse to take a breath test, and it's not in every state has drafted their own version of an implied consent law. Some of them you will lose your license if you refuse the field sobriety test right then and there. But I think that's only
a majority of them.
No, I believe the majority of them are actually more so that deal more so with blood, because chemical tests breath tests are not accurate.
Oh, no,
they're not trustworthy.
He's speculating.
Oh, no.
I want facts and figures. Listen, Audit the Audit, you need to fucking stick with cops walking in there and he gets an F. You get an F, sir, because you have no receipts right now.
Wait a second. Audit. So here would be a question if what you were saying was true there. So I've always heard the opposite, that even if you go to the station and you pass a blood test, just the refusal of the field sobriety or breathalyzer automatically means license revocation, or license suspension, I should say. If it was the case that wasn't true, then why would anybody ever submit to a field sobriety anything ever, especially if you were drunk? Wouldn't it always be in the favor of the suspect to just wait until they get to the station and hope that
Yes, it is always in your favor.
Yeah,
to do
I
that.
was specifically
But it's
here's
not.
Another.
Because my understanding is it's not always in your favor to do that, because if there are some places where your license is suspended automatically, even if you weren't
right,
drunk.
it will be.
Yeah,
that's how it is. Here's how it works. If let's say you're not drunk and you're driving, right?
Yeah.
And you get pulled over, and they suspect you of being drunk, and then they take you in, and you refuse any testing. Your license is suspended. Right then.
Yeah.
If you refuse
when you go to
testing.
court, if you refuse any testing whatsoever, your license will be revoked.
And that's
any testing or all testing?
It depends on the state. But if you refuse a blood test in all 50 states, your license is revoked.
That was my understanding as well.
Right. So
don't try to fucking weasel. I got
timestamps. We can look at the bet if we want.
I said if you refuse the breathalyzer, that you're losing your license.
Listen, we'll just watch the timestamps after.
I want to know where that's not the case. Actually, Audit the Audit. Can you tell me where I can refuse a breathalyzer on the road and have no punishment whatsoever?
I would have to look at that.
Well, you said that the majority of places.
Not a breathalyzer. Just to be clear.
Whatever the roadside alcohol tester.
The reason that is not that device is not enough to immediately revoke your license in some places is because that's a machine that has to be calibrated, and there can be roadside mistakes from that machine.
Sure, I don't think
I'm familiar with that. We're not asking about that.
Courts have actually recognized that. Yeah, this is what you're asking.
No, because
I'm telling
when you drive, you have implied consent that you will submit to these tests, not that these are tests going to be used against you. It's reasonable.
To chemical testing. How that's articulated in state laws varies. You see what I'm saying? So, but there is one permanent truth among all of those implied consent laws, which is that if you refuse a blood test, your license is automatically revoked, and you'll have to go to court to defend yourself and get your license reinstated. But as far as a breathalyzer, that machine that they use to administer breathalyzers is not reliable. It has to be calibrated. It has to be administered by a professional. So a big part of deciding whether or not a chemical test is valid and whether or not you had a right to refuse it is how it was done. And there's actually language in the 1957 case that kind of established a lot of the guidelines for how we do these chemical tests. The court held that blood samples have to be taken by a skilled technician, and they cannot shock the conscience or violate any kind of substantive due process. So it's not always as simple as just saying, if you refuse this breathalyzer, you're going to your license will be revoked. But it is as simple as saying, if you refuse this blood test, your license will be revoked.
So I guess I'd like to ask, where and what state and when can I refuse a breathalyzer from an officer who suspects that I'm drunk and not lose my license?
Field breath test, not breathalyzer.
I said fine. A field a machine. You know what? Forget it. A magical fucking device that says inaccurately. Where can I refuse that? In what state and not lose my license? Because you said it was the majority, so I'm just curious of a few I could look up.
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll tell you one. I'm gonna find a list of them.
Because I've checked the biggest states and
can we cam up so I can see Dan's fucking face?
Like, I don't think you're going to want that once we get into it, because I've checked every major state and all of them have implied consent for the breathalyzer on the road. So I'm waiting to see
you didn't know the difference between a field breath test and the breathalyzer a second ago, so I don't know.
Not the side of the road if you refuse even to do the tests. That doesn't have a fucking breathalyzer, bro.
I'm curious why you sound so worried if you've actually
Wait, hold on. Wait. What did you just say? The difference between a field breath test and a breathalyzer? Wait, what are you talking about there?
Yes. There are two. They're like the field breath things where you blow at the side of your car, and then they have the big box at the station.
Okay, hold on. Those are both breathalyzers. One is probably just more like...
No, I don't think it is. No.
They both are. Just one is calibrated.
I think it's a misnomer. When people call the field breath test breathalyzers, I think that's a common misconception.
You can buy portable breathalyzers you can put in your car.
I think that's a colloquial term, but I don't think.
Okay, it's so colloquial. It is ubiquitous across all labelings of all. Like I can go. I know because I bought one of these before. Okay, you can go on Amazon right. Hold on, wait. You're wrong. You go on Amazon. You can literally search.
It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. It doesn't fucking matter.
Okay, wait. Hold on. But you just said to Dan. Wait, you just said to Dan. You don't know the difference between like a breathalyzer and a field breath test. They're both breathalyzers. There's probably just more like carefully calibrated machines back at the station, but they're both breathalyzers.
How confident are you about this?
It's called a breathalyzer. It probably analyzes your breath. I'm pretty confident. Like, but I'm sure there are more, like, there are probably more carefully calibrated ones, like back at a station. That probably makes sense too. Wait, what are you doing? Hold on one sec.
I this is ridiculous.
What's that?
This program that I'm attempting to use is not working for me right now.
You got a secret law searching program?
It's not secret. You can get it too. It's called Case Text.
Well, hold on. I don't know why we're looking at like maybe getting out of it. I just know I'm looking at the most. So I checked the top 10 most populated U.S. states, which on my list was California, Florida, Texas,
Okay, a minute ago you said you checked all 50 states, but
I didn't check all 50 states. I have to Google each one.
Well, why did you say that you did?
What? Find the thing where I said I checked all 50 states.
Okay.
You did say that.
No, shut.
Just
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm back. I didn't think Dan said all 50 states. I thought he said he checked the biggest states. That's what I heard him say.
You guys are literally trying to gaslight me right now into this.
I got you.
You know,
I got
Audit
you,
the
Dan.
Audit,
I got you,
There's a
Dan.
lot
Don't
on the
worry.
hook for you, Audit the Audit, because you said a majority of states you can refuse the field sobriety test and not lose your license. I'm talking about in reality.
No, that is not what I said.
That is what I heard. That
is
I heard that.
definitely what you said, Audit the Audit. So do you want to rephrase? Because Wicked Supreme's getting very cocky over here. So to be clear, if I refuse, I'm got pulled over on the side of the road. Officer McFuck is here with his fucking little hand-sized fucking blowing this thing, and I'm saying, fuck you, I'm not blowing. I want you to tell me in how many states that I'm going to still have my license at the end of the day if I do that.
Probably none until you. Well, but that. Yeah, it's going to be suspended until you go to court.
Hey, Wicked Supreme, eat my fucking asshole.
No, you said for 1 year. You said suspended for 1 year.
Dude,
it's in the time
I would
stamp.
never say that because different states have 6 months and some have a
Yeah,
year.
doesn't he click the
No,
time
they're
stamp?
all-
Oh my
Everybody
dude,
bear witness.
you can weasel as hard as you fucking want. You have gotten
me
blown the
up,
fuck
dude, I
out.
got footage. I have video evidence. Go ahead.
This
Let's
is just
see
how
who's
much
the
of a
weasel.
weasel-
I posted
Look,
the links in the chat here.
Some states are 6 months, some are a year.
No, it's
Like, I
90
don't-
days. It's 90 days. for the
Some
first
it depends on
suspension.
this. It depends on the state
Go ahead.
for how long you lose your license if you refuse.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead
Literally
and click
based
the,
on-
I posted timestamps here.
Yeah,
Why is
that-
everyone afraid to watch them?
That's probably the case. Now that I think about it, because all of these are statutes. Respective to their state.
I
But
think the essence
what
of
jitter. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the essence of what Dan is getting at, that I believe is true, is that generally in police interactions, I'm speaking incredibly broadly, generally, it's usually to your benefit to shut the fuck up and not say anything, except for whatever you're legally compelled to do. If an officer asks you a bunch of questions, you don't have to answer. Am I being detained? No. Okay, cool, I don't want to answer these. Can I search your car? Do you have a warrant? Do you have probable cause? No. Okay, I don't want you. Generally, that's the case. But in the case of a field sobriety test, my understanding, and I believe Dan's understanding, is that this is one of those times where it is actually not in your best interest to cooperate at the minimum level. Because you do have the right to refuse a field sobriety test. You do have a right to refuse a field breathalyzer, but driving is not a right. And because of the implied consent law surrounding driving, while you can exercise your right not to take those tests, you will lose your license for 90 days, 180 days, or 12 months, depending on the state you're in. So it doesn't always benefit you to refuse the field sobriety test, especially if you're not actually drunk. That exercising your rights in that case would be bad. That's my understanding. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, okay.
I would totally disagree with that, and for a number of reasons.
Yeah, go for it.
One, losing your license is not the end of the world. All right, it's yes, you're going to lose your license if you get a DUI or if you're suspected of a DUI. But the whole point of that system is so that you will then go to court and prove your innocence in some way. If you've taken a breathalyzer or something to that effect, you're not going to be able to prove your innocence even if it was the machine's fault. I mean, you have a chance.
Well, hold on.
Wait, no, wait.
Odds,
Go ahead, Steve.
Your odds of defeating a case where you've voluntarily taken a breathalyzer test that then registered as you being drunk, you're never going to win that.
Okay, well, that might be true. We're banking on the idea that the machine is faulty. If I know I haven't had anything to drink and I can pass every field sobriety test but the breathalyzer, I think I'd rather take.
But the thing is, it's like it's not up to you whether you decide whether you pass those tests, and they're so inherently subjective. Speaking specifically on the field sobriety test, that like even if you pass the breathalyzer, then the cop can just administer field sobriety tests and arbitrarily decide that you failed them and take you to jail anyway. There are literally hundreds of cases of this happening to people.
I understand what you're saying. I just losing your license for 180 days because you don't want to run a risk of running into a mean cop.
It's not necessarily that long.
Well, that's what. I mean, it's not necessarily, but it could be
on when you go to court.
Sure, but from my experience in Omaha, court date on average was out 45 days. I don't know what that time is like for other people, but I can't lose my license for a month and a half. And if I do lose my license for a month and a half, I'm going to be driving on no license, guaranteed. Assuming he doesn't impound my car when he takes me out. If he's nice and lets me follow him to the station, then I'm okay. I've had an officer do that before I get arrested. He'll let me follow him to the station. But if he impounds my car right there, one, I'm out $200 to $400 for the impound, and then two, I have to find a ride to work for the next month and a half. I'm fucked. My life is over at that point. I think I would rather run the risk of doing the field sobriety, assuming it's not a dick cop or whatever, than say like, no, I'm actually going to risk the 6-month suspension here and just like wait for my day in court. Especially because at that point, I'm probably also going to have to hire a lawyer and everything too. That's a huge burden, I think, on the person being pulled over.
Sure.
Okay. May I add real quick here that a big part of this is your own status in life. So if you are drunk, and let's just assume you're not going to be able to afford a lawyer to go to court regardless of what happens here. If you are drunk and you blow, the penalty that you have as far as losing your car will be significantly less in most cases than if you refuse to do the breathalyzer. So if you've never been arrested for a DUI before and you blow and they get you and you have a DUI, that sucks. They're going to put you in a diversion course and maybe you're going to be out of your license, or maybe not at all, depending on what's happening here. But if you refuse to blow, you're going to lose your license. However, a DUI is a criminal thing that happens. And if you care about having something like that on your record more than not having your car, you should refuse to make it as difficult as possible for them to convict you in court of law. So for instance, for me, I'm a fucking NEET. I never leave the house. I never go anywhere. So to me, if I'm in DUI, I say, fuck it. I can lose my license for a year. That's purely civil because that's going to give me maximum chances of being able to defeat this DUI when I hire a lawyer and go to court, because he's not going to have any proof that I was actually drunk. It's just his word versus mine, and they'll probably drop it with nothing. So I lose my license for a year, but I can deal with that. That's purely civil. You can lose your license for a million things. So that's the difference. It's either losing your license for whatever period threshold it is, and that's it, and that's the end. That's not criminal. Or, I only lose my license for 30 days, or not at all, but I have a fucking DUI criminal offense on my record. And that's what you need to decide.
My understanding is losing your license is between you and the DMV. It's not a legal action.
Yeah, this is true at the end of the day when we're talking about like our criminal records and the legal blah, 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 blah. But I'm just saying for a person on the ground who's like impacted immediately, losing your license is a really big deal. Because if you get pulled over after that point because you still have to drive to work, well, now it becomes a bit, because now you're driving under a suspended license, which in some places is either like a class 3 misdemeanor or that's a really big, like, I know in Kansas City when I got pulled over for that was a charge that could carry up to 1 year of jail time. So that gets a lot more serious, like really quickly. So I feel like refusing the field sobriety test every time for a person that's kind of poor, that's a really scary thing, I think, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's certainly socioeconomic variables to be considered with pretty much any police interaction or legal topic. But just saying, like, speaking from the perspective of, like, if you were to ask an attorney, should you take a breathalyzer, they're probably going to tell you no. And, just make you aware that, like, you don't, even if you're sober, if you know you haven't gotten your banking, you're banking completely on the idea that they'll fuck the sobriety test up or something, basically, right? Or that's like the worry that you have, and that it's going to be harder to beat that in court.
That the cop doesn't like you, I suppose, right?
Well, the thing is like I said earlier, is that you can almost remove the testing from the equation. If a cop wants to take you to jail for a DUI, he will.
So let me give you a situation where I think you would do it. Even though you're a huge I would never blow type of guy, I'm going to make you blow. You ready for this? You're driving down the road, you're stone cold sober, okay? Up ahead of you, there's a concert going on. Everyone's driving one by one. You come up, it's your turn. Cop says, "How you doing, Mr. Audit the Audit? We should get you out here, man. Listen, we're just doing very quick one by one breathalyzers. Just quick stop. Sorry. Do you want to do it?" You're stone cold. The people in front of you have done it in past, and you've seen that they've gone and they've gone forward. You know you're at this point. You're stone cold, sober. The people in front of you have done it. The cop is being friendly with you. He just wants to move on with his day. Are you taking that test, or are you losing your license for a year?
Well, personally, I would just take the test. But
Fucking
I'm
A,
not
you take the test in that circumstance. Fucking A,
But look,
you do.
here's the thing. I would also just, give my receipt to the woman at Walmart, and things like that. Like I suffer a lot of inconveniences outside of law enforcement too. The thing is like, of course you got to pick your battles with whatever you want to do, but that doesn't take away the importance of discussing the philosophical implications or whether or not that's right or wrong
we agree with you.
We do a lot of philosophy here.
Yeah, we're fans of your channel. We're here talking about what would happen if this kid was driving the car, or
what would happen if you had a special room in your house that had a dog? All kinds of crazy.
All this stuff is stuff we absolutely agree with, but it's important, and I think the stuff that we were trying to bring on to our audience is the understanding of what should you actually do in practice. So let's say you're driving and you are a little bit drunk. You're a fucking idiot. You're drunk driving, and you got pulled over, and you're pretty confident that you're wasted, that you're gonna fail this test. What should you do? And what I said to people, is that how confident are you you're gonna fail this fucking breathalyzer? And if the answer is I'm gonna fail it 100%, you have to make that decision. In your mind,
then you should probably refuse.
No, see, that is not true what you're saying right now. Okay, that's what a lawyer would say. Okay, you need to decide in your mind, what is more important to you. Can you go a year without your car? Or would that make your life absolutely worse in every way?
If you're 100% sure you're going to blow dirty, then if you blow dirty, they take your shit anyway.
No, see, that's the thing, is that I don't believe, or somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is an automatic suspension for
no, there's
DUI.
Not.
A DUI is if you're guilty of DUI, then you go to court, and if you have a 100, not recommending anybody do this, but if you have a 100% clean record, if you've got a nice judge, if you've got a good lawyer, you might get off on either pleading it down or a suspended sentence or, a whatever. There might be other things you can explore there that are actually preferential to refusing to do the field sobriety tests.
There are people from my hometown that have 10 DUIs.
I know. I don't know how people do that.
Around.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. And yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, so that the whole thing we're getting across is that you. 1 second. Hold on.
Okay, while Dan does that, my understanding, because I have actually done this, I have refused tests, and they haven't taken my license. And the bet was over whether or not it's an automatic suspension. Now, I wonder if there's some deference, that the officer can exercise or whatever. But, my understanding, because my dad had the same thing happen to him 25 years ago or whatever, 25 years ago, where they can, they can try to get you to do the field sobriety test, but you can demand to be taken down to the station and take a different test, right? The station tests. Yeah. And in that case, it was my understanding that, you have the right to do that, and it is not an automatic suspension so long as you take some form of testing or something like that. And
right, I would agree with that statement because, ultimately the testing that you must submit to is the one at the station.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
In a controlled environment.
That might be true. Wait, hold on. That might be true in a legal sense, but I don't believe that's true and the implied consent to maintain your license sense. Well, so that might be true in a constitutional, but if you refuse and you say, I just want to do the one at the station, they're like, okay, that's fine. You're still going to lose your license for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months anyway.
No. I don't think that that's the case. I'm pretty sure that the implied consent laws, most, like I said, you have to do it in a test that is administered by, let me find that exact language again.
Yeah, we should find a statute on it, because my understanding is that you
I have a case
yeah.
that talks about this and the the circumstances in which like I said, it's not even if they didn't use the implied consent, they could probably still do a warrantless entry with the exigency circumstance. But also there was a case where this 1957 they wanted to take involuntary blood samples from a guy who was unconscious through the implied consent laws, and the court upheld that and said that as long as the samples are taken by a skilled technician, and that the process didn't shock the conscience, then that's the basically the only.
Sure, but I think what we're talking about here supersedes like or it's not relevant to like your constitutional rights or whatever, insofar as like warrantless search or seizure or anything like that. It has to do with like just the privilege of driving a car, right? Because driving a car is a lot different than like revoking somebody's right to freedom of speech or possession of a firearm or something, right?
Well, you still have constitutional rights in a car.
I don't believe you have a constitutional right to a driver's license. That's why
you don't.
Yeah, that's why they're able to say like if you refuse the field sobriety test, you just lose your license. You don't have a constitutional right to a driver's license in the state, right?
If you refuse the chemical test, it's the chemical test, not the field sobriety test.
So that's where our disagreement is. I think, and I could be wrong, if anybody has a link to anything that proves me otherwise, because I've looked this up a ton and I keep seeing everything that I believe is true. It's the field sobriety test is what you are compelled to submit to. That's the one that you have to submit to. For the test at the station, on that one, I don't think you have a choice to refuse that. I think that can actually be legally compelled. Like that's not that. Like you can't just be like, okay, I don't want to take the station test. Like here's my license. I'm just going to walk away. At that point, I'm pretty sure they can issue a warrant for your arrest and like actually legally compel you to do it. But that's a separate conversation to just the privilege of having a driver's license, which if you refuse a field sobriety test, I believe in almost every state, I think is automatically revoked. Is my understanding of things. And every time I look anything up, it just...
Well, I just Googled, will I lose my license if I refuse field sobriety test? If you refuse to submit a DUI chemical test, the DMV will automatically suspend your license. That's what comes up. That's the first result, but obviously, the answer to this is probably going to require some more rigorous research to figure out where this is true in each state or whatever.
I would, without getting too frisky here, I'm going to ask us to think objectively. Okay? If you could refuse to do field sobriety tests with no problem every time, who the fuck would ever take it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is that like, why would you ever take a field sobriety test? How would I like take me to
just like you said, people who don't want the inconvenience, who don't want the trouble, who know that they're not intoxicated, who want to just move on with their day. And then the people who are intoxicated who take them are intoxicated. They're not making, smart decisions in that moment. Those are the people who are taking these tests.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Audit the Audit. And this is something I want you to look back at on the moment. I'm going to ask you a pretty clear question and know that you're an authority on this subject. It's going to look super bad if you answer this wrong. So don't embellish. Think about it.
Oh, man.
Last time I'm setting the scene here. I am in random state USA and I've been pulled over and I'm wasted. The officer comes over to my car. He says, I want you to do a field sobriety test. You're fucking wasted. And I say, fuck you, man. I'm not fucking doing shit. And he says, I want you to blow in this handheld device and I want you to follow my commands on the street. I'm going to tell you to touch your nose and fucking do all this shit. And I said, fuck you. I'm not doing either of those things. Are you telling me that I have now not lost my license for a year?
Not until they say, I need you to take this chemical test now that I've arrested you for a DUI and I want to acquire evidence against you for the upcoming case. And I want you to take this chemical test that you're required to do by law, that you agree to do according to implied consent laws.
So you're saying in every state in the country...
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I think we got it. So now we just have to...
So you're trying to say that everyone can refuse the field sobriety test. They have no meaning because they'll just test you at the station.
You should probably look up and see where that's true for your state.
Okay, so Audit the Audit stating that you should never take a field sobriety test, and literally
I never said that.
There's no negative consequence. Wait, what is
weasel you around?
What is the negative consequence of refusing besides the inconvenience?
Is they will take you to the station and give you a chemical. They're going to arrest you either way. They don't have to make you take this field sobriety test to arrest you for a DUI. All they have to have is probable cause. They don't need to do any kind of test at all for that. All they have to do is suspect that you are driving drunk and you will go to jail. Then they will do a chemical test there that you have to comply with. And then that's it. Your license will be revoked.
Okay. So do you think you can refuse the one at the station when they're there and you're under arrest?
No, you cannot.
Oh,
yeah.
Steven, help me. Help me, Steven.
Help you what?
They just said you can't refuse the one at the station. So what is this law that if you refuse, you lose your license? What can you refuse?
That's not a law. That's between you and the DMV, potentially.
It's the chemical test, man. It's not the field sobriety test. And here's the thing: is like the breathalyzer that they administer at your car is almost always thrown out in court cases because those machines are never calibrated right. The person using it generally doesn't have the certification to be using it. You know, there's a million factors that could make that to where it's inadmissible in court, and that's why it's so important.
Hold on, that's just to be clear, because now this is a little contradictory, because earlier you made it sound like you don't ever want to take those if you aren't drunk, because once you've blown past 0.08 or whatever on that breathalyzer, then you're going to be fucked in court. But if you're saying it's easy to throw out, then it feels like I should always just take my chance with the field sobriety test.
Well, I mean, you never know. That's the chance you're taking when you take a field sobriety test like that. Is if it does blow right, you're going to then have to prove that this machine wasn't operated by the right person or wasn't calibrated correctly or some other external factor influenced how that machine got that reading, which can be done and is often done. But it's just a chance, it's not a guarantee.
Okay. I'm getting lost here. So there is a rule that most states have, this implied consent, where if you refuse, let's say, a chemical test, okay? If you refuse a chemical test, that you lose your license, okay? You would agree with that so far?
Yes.
Okay. So the chemical test, you're telling me they don't do that to you out on the side of the road. That's not a chemical test in your mind. The little machine, the little breathalyzer thing that they want you to blow in, that's not a chemical test to you.
It is a chemical test that could be easily, defended against in court.
What's in question, though, is if you demand to take the one at the station, if it's still an automatic license suspension, and that's the operative, is that it's automatic, that they have no choice but to suspend your license, is what you bet on.
Well, I mean, theoretically, there's always going to be some level of discretion. The officer could just say, like, oh, like, we're going to let this one slide. I mean, like, that could be true of literally anything.
Right.
But I mean, by procedure, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be an automatic license revocation.
Well, I don't know about the bets, the things that you put money down on, Steven, but I choose to go as autistic as possible when I'm putting money down on things, okay? Especially when it comes to legal things.
Well, sure, but if you want to be as autistic as possible, there's literally discretion. Like, fuck, you can get pardoned for crimes. Like, somebody could just, fucking be racist, or somebody can lynch you. Like, I mean, there's... Wait, well, hold on. To be clear, did I take a bet here? Am I part of this?
No, you didn't.
I did.
The royal you.
I feel like there's so much. I want you guys to forget everything about like going to court. We're not talking about going to court. We're not talking about if you'll be innocent or if in 1956 some dude got off on a technique. I don't give a shit. In my mind, and I am fairly certain, okay, that if you refuse to blow on the side of the road, that you're losing your license for a period of time.
Yes, but
well, hang on. That's what's in question. No, I'm saying if you demand to take a breathalyzer at the station, if they offer you the field breath test, and you say I would prefer to take one at the station.
Your license is gone.
If they must revoke your license,
they will.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think what's happening here is that I wasn't speaking clearly enough, and this is my bad, Audit the Audit, because I talk in like a very autistic way.
Or a blood test. Or you say I would prefer to take a blood test or something.
No. I understand what's going on. So first of all, Wicked Supreme, you can't be like, sir, I'm not taking your FSTs. I'd like to be around the station. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking that would fly anywhere. You're out of your mind.
I've done that and not lost my license. My dad did it too. Didn't lose his license.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but okay.
Well, you probably shouldn't tell me anything. Maybe you have shit advice because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You are so unbelievably wrong.
Okay.
If you do not take the breathalyzer on the side of the road, you're losing your license.
But you're right. I could be wrong. You could be 100% right. I want the answers to this too.
I am. Look, don't worry.
Look, I think we're talking. Okay, so that machine, the machine that they walk up to and have you breathe into, when that's not technically a breathalyzer. That's a preliminary breath tester. Okay, so it's not something that like is gonna be super accurate enough. That's why they have to take you to the station to this, like what Wicked Supreme was describing, this bigger breathalyzer that's in a controlled environment that you breathe into.
What is this sensation? Why does this feel so good?
Okay,
have you guys ever felt this before?
And this preliminary breath test is part of the field sobriety test repertoire. You know what I'm saying? So it does fall under the umbrella of the things that you were saying. But what I'm saying is it's not accurate enough to be admissible in court. And if any cop goes into court,
I agree with you. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, okay. We're not talking about that. I don't even care what happens after this. Okay, we're just talking about fucking, I'll say it one more time. I'll make sure we're there.
We're just regular guys having a beer.
We're regular guys having a beer in our car. No, don't let me finish. In my car, and I have been pulled over by Officer McFuck. And Officer McFuck says, "You're drunk." And I said, "Nuh-uh." And he pulls out his machine and he wants me to blow right there in his hand. And I say, "I'm not doing it." We're not talking about if you're going to go to jail. We're not talking about if you're going to have a hard life or you're going to win this in court. What we're talking about, if I tell you to eat shit, I'm not blowing in this machine. I'll only blow in the machine at the station that's calibrated by Jesus. If I say that, what is going to happen to my license? Audit the Audit.
I'm pretty sure nothing until they take you to the station. And I also do think that, like, for example, I pulled up one state in particular, Maryland, and they have their statutories, they state that there is a difference between a preliminary breath test and a chemical test. And also, those machines that they use are called alcohol sensors, not breathalyzers. Breathalyzers are the ones that are in a controlled environment.
It's tingly. It's like a tingly feeling. It's like a warm tickle, but it feels really good.
If you look up Maryland, and you can see, you just type in like preliminary breath test versus chemical breath test, and then you'll see the difference between those two. And this is what I was saying by in some states it may be different because some states may have, written some type of statute like this where they do create a true legal distinction between the preliminary breath test and the actual breathalyzer. But I doubt that's the case for everywhere.
Okay, hold on. Wait. No.
If you get out of the car and piss on the cop's shoes and tell
them, let me finish. Stop interrupting me. Okay. I'm about to take this step further. Audit the Audit. I am so confident that you are wrong with what you're saying. I will bet you $50,000.
Stop.
We'll do it.
Stop.
I will
stop. No, stop. Don't. No. Because neither of you have the technicalities of this ironed up enough. Okay, so
I got lawyers on here.
No.
Every state.
Let's not do this. Stop. Slow the fuck down, Dan.
Oh, this is our collaboration opportunity with legal.
Okay, need a breathalyzer because you're out of control right now, Dan. Okay, you calm down?
Well, I don't need to take the breathalyzer because nothing happens to me if I don't take it. Okay, go ahead.
Here's my question, okay? I understand everything you guys are saying, okay? I'm not a legal expert. I'm just a regular dude, plays video games, loves his country and his family, okay? But I am I'm 95% positive that this is not true. I do not believe you can refuse a field sobriety test and not have like the potential of just losing your license flat out because of that. So what I'm asking is for either of you, do either of you have a single link you can shoot me that says, yeah, if you refuse a field sobriety test,
right now.
Yeah, I would just be so curious to see that because I've never heard that before in my life.
Here's Texas. There you go. You can read number 1 and then number 2. Clears it up. I'll read it out for you. The first one basically says, listen, you will be asked to take a breath or blood test to measure your blood alcohol concentration level. If you refuse to take or fail the field sobriety test, your driver's license will be suspended and or disqualified. And then in number 2, it says, if you consent to a law enforcement officer's request to a blood test, you will keep your driver's license until the BAC results are received by the department. If the results indicate you provided a specimen above the legal limit, your driver's license will be suspended and or disqualified.
There's nothing in here saying that it will be restored if it's not. So,
hold on. No. Wait. This proves my point.
Yeah.
Maybe it does in Texas.
This says that you will be asked to take a breath or blood test to measure your BAC. If you refuse to take or fail it, your driver's license will be suspended and or disqualified.
Right.
My guess is that you can probably fail that or pass that and then maybe consent to a blood test afterwards. But if you refuse the field sobriety test, your license, now you're putting your faith or hope in the police officer to not automatically revoke or suspend your license.
Right. So, now read this second link from Maryland, which is a different state that has different rules.
Gotcha. Let me check.
That.
Hold on.
Generally speaking, and this, let's just set aside the law for a moment because, that sounds ridiculous, but there are a lot of practicalities involved with the enforcement of law and how that plays out in a courtroom that are not necessarily taken into account when you're discussing the philosophy of the law and, you know, the overarching implications of the laws. Like, yes, a cop most likely could, in most states, take you to jail for refusing the preliminary breath test. But that tool is mostly designed so that an officer can determine on the scene whether or not they actually want to apprehend you and take you in for further chemical testing, or they want, you know, to just let you go. And that's why people would take it if, you know, say if the cop's like, hey, I think you're drinking, blow into this. If it blows under, I'm going to let you go. That's almost always what they say.
Sure.
Right?
Or go ahead. Sorry.
The reason I was just going to say, the reason they do that is because even if they didn't have access to a chemical test, or they didn't feel like taking you back to the office, and they try to prosecute you using just the preliminary breath test, that's probably not going to work out
for sure. Which is why, but if you fail that, they can probably get a warrant for like a blood draw or a more sophisticated.
Yes. Or well, actually, they don't even need a warrant, you know, because of implied consent.
Yeah. So for what I'm reading here on Maryland, it does appear that you can refuse the field test, but then you have to take a chemical test afterwards. So I think what me and Dan were saying earlier is that there are probably some states like this, but my understanding is that in the majority of states, and more than 25 of them, you wouldn't be able to refuse the field sobriety one. But here in Maryland, this one states quite clearly that under Maryland's implied consent laws, drivers impliedly consent to taking a chemical breathalyzer test, but you can refuse to take the preliminary breath test, and that has no effect on your privilege to drive in Maryland. So Maryland would be different than Texas. So then the question becomes, how many states are you going to look up all 50
I don't know.
What's important is that Dan bet that it is an automatic suspension of your license if you refuse the field test.
In most states, I believe that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say so. But the odds of you getting convicted on a preliminary breath test are pretty low.
Okay.
Oh, they're nothing.
Well, just to be sure, ATA, you agree that in most states, if you refuse the field test but agree to take the station test, you still lose your license?
Yes.
Okay, then I will honor the bet and pay Dan $50.
To the United Zionists, I don't know. I got to find the most. We'll see.
Go ahead, farm all the Nazis you can.
Wait, no, those would be not Nazis.
Jesus.
No, but they want to hear that. The Nazis want to hear that you have like a United Zionist, whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll gracefully take my leave. I'm still, even though I lost the bet, the tingle of how angry Dan was is still, I'm riding off that high. But it's a pleasure to introduce you guys, and I'll catch you guys later.
Yep, it's been fun. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sorry, this was such a crazy combo. But,
yeah, I'd like to come and have a civil conversation with you guys.
Oh no, this is all this was a civil conversation.
No, shut the fuck up. Dan is a special kind of guy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the combo, dude. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
it
good
was
looking
fun.
All right, guys. All right, later.
Oof, I don't like being in here. I'm going to my room. Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Oof. Oh man.
Can someone go ahead and get a list?
I hang out with him more and ask him questions.
Non-believers.
Well, because I feel like I'm already. That was a lot, I imagine, for him.
That was a lot.
That was probably a lot.
You have to be special to accept.
Hey, how about that? The season finale last night. That panel you had.
Yeah, what a wild ride that was.
It was like your own personal Avengers.
True.
Look, how can you still vote 2 right now? This is, I understand. So this is the problem. This is why we can't make meaningful change in America right now. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day what facts are, what happens. All that matters is if you get some fucking like charismatic people that's a fucking celebrity out, fuck you guys. You deserve everything you get. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking,
yeah,
no matter.
Sounds like you don't give a shit.
Whoever gets into office, go ahead. What?
We'll go back to the semi-serious conversation though. Garland is speaking in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Oof. There's a path forward that might be, where is Pisco at? Fuck, I'm curious on his opinion on this too. My understanding is that if you are convicted of a felony, I think you're not allowed to run for president of the United States. Is that true?
Ooh.
Can you run for president if felony conviction? Or there's some charge that you can not run for president. Or it might be a specific one for misdemeanors. There might be a specific charge of something. Esports Batman, can you tell me what it was? The only things that limit our impeachment and age? Are you sure? Or is it just treason? Okay, that might have been headline stuff.
Well, Trump has been impeached.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true actually, so that doesn't. Okay, maybe it's only sedition. Okay, so, okay. That's good. Never mind then. Because one worry I would have is some charge or criminal thing comes out and then he can't run because of that. I think the country would like tear itself apart. That would be insane.
At the end of the day, I think the biggest lament is that even if he was found literally guilty of treason or something like that, and he was able to run again, I don't think it would impact his vote at all. Like that's the scary thing, is that even if he was guilty of like several felonies and he ran again, I don't think that.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. So U.S. Code Section 2071, concealment, removal, or mutilation generally. This has to do with whoever willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, or destroys, or attempts to do so with intent to do so, or takes or carries away any record, proceeding, map, book, paper, document, or other thing, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned, not more than 3 years or both. And then they also shall forfeit his office and be disqualified from holding any office under the United States.
Oh, shit.
I believe this... yeah.
Any office. That's not just president, too.
Yeah. I read on Reddit that people said Trump passed this law, but I'm seeing this is September 1994. How can I see when a law was passed? Is there a way to tell? That might have just been a Reddit meme. He passed it in 1994. Yeah, true. Okay. Maybe it might have just been, yeah. I can't trust anything I read on that fucking website. Oh, Esports Batman. Hold on. Put me in, I'll explain. All right, you have notable, go. Oh, he increased the penalty for committing the crime. Is that true? Never mind, I'm not going to believe anyone unless you like a thing. Okay, Esports Batman, go.
Oh, sorry about that. So there are a couple of laws that they were talking about possibly hitting him with. 2071 was one. I think 1924 was the other that was being discussed. And then there's 798 for the disclosure illegally of classified material. So those are probably the 3 that they're looking at going after him for, but I'm not quite sure.
We still don't know. Nobody's leaked. We don't know why that raid happened yet, right? That's what we're waiting for Garland to talk about, basically?
Kind of. It's all but been hinted at that it happens to deal with him keeping the material at Mar-a-Lago. The question is, to what degree of severity is there a concern? So he's been back and forth with the National Archives, apparently, since the end of his term about keeping material in a non-secured way, as well as not turning over the extent that he's required to under the Presidential Documents Act, which was done actually in response to Nixon. It was done after Nixon left office to make sure that there was always going to be records. So there's some concern over that. There's also some concern over him destroying or mutilating records, which is why people are, suspecting that 2071 might be in play. But we'll have to see. I think Garland's going to probably clarify everything going forward with his press conference today. To
all of this is going to be where everything is completely unprecedented, right? Because there hasn't been a potential presidential candidate or ex-president that's been raided by the FBI. All of his statements are going to be highly influential on the upcoming midterms. So this is going to be very political. He's going to be commenting on an ongoing investigation, potentially, which is generally a big no-no, I think, for DOJ or for intelligence.
Yeah, and
this situation is like really fucked.
Brandon J. just asked a very interesting question, and this was kind of explained by the Newsweek article I was reading yesterday, where they were talking about apparently they had taken all of whatever they're working on right now to a grand jury first, and then they took it obviously up the chain, and eventually to a judge. So it wasn't like just...
No, I imagine, for something like this, I feel like maybe even Garland himself at some point would have probably...
Well, Garland has to sign off. So
yeah.
He put out a memo either like a month or two ago, basically saying, in accordance with the general rules of how the DOJ does things, anybody who's potentially running for office who's going to be the subject of a federal investigation has to get the sign off directly from the Attorney General.
Yeah, because this is and so this was my only worry, and you could tell me if this is legitimate or not, is this has to be some serious shit. Like, it can't just be that he had a couple documents that he forgot to turn in or something stupid like that, because this would like be unimaginably fucking horrible that the DOJ has involved itself in the election in this manner over something that's not paramount, like to whatever legal process they're pursuing, right? Like,
yeah. So, in talking with people sort of in and about DC, my understanding and kind of the consensus seems to be that there is a belief that somewhere in those documents, either he gave access to somebody who shouldn't ever have access, or he said something that he shouldn't have ever said to somebody, and the documents were able to corroborate that he had direct knowledge of that. In terms of the level of detail, it isn't just like he makes an offhanded comment. He was, giving information away that he shouldn't have.
So do you think, is this probably related to the January 6th stuff then? Like, are we looking for like that type of thing, do you think, or?
It's possible. It might also, some of the other theories I've heard is it happens to deal with a lot of his business deals and favorability of business deals that he's recently gotten in regards to Saudi Arabia. Where one person that I talked to said he probably gave intelligence away to Saudi Arabia that he shouldn't have, or some sort of other information in exchange for favorable business deals. I don't think necessarily he's that dumb, but...
All right, are we done arguing about Audit the Audit?
No, we'll talk about it in a second. Or...
All right, well, let's go. All right, yes, bad Trump, bad politics.
Well, hang on, I have questions. Well, why do you want to talk about the Audit? I already fucking paid.
Well, because I want to go play Rust. I'm sitting here waiting for this shit to go.
Okay, I think we've done.
I think the argument's over, right?
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on Audit the Audit? I guess. I feel like his statement of how like you should always refuse the field sobriety test was a little crazy.
A little irresponsible.
Losing your license for 3 months is if you are working and driving to work.
Well, wasn't that Dan's statement? Isn't that how Dan like launched into this in the first place?
I don't think so.
The only statement that I've heard that makes sense in regards to refusal is the idea of if you can refuse and kind of hold it off long enough that by the time they get to the chemical test, you're below the limit, it might save you that way.
Yeah, if you are drunk, basically, right? Yeah. Then you want to exercise all your rights.
Yeah, and so particularly in states that require a blood draw rather than a chemical test, or require you to go to the hospital and wait to have your blood drawn, you can essentially wait it out by walking around, drinking water, hydrating, and then get it down to by the time the nurses get around to you, because you're like the lowest priority, you're sobered up and you're going to get out.
Okay, if I'm honest, I'm not satisfied that we really got a definitive answer on this, and I'm happy to honor the bet because I said we would have Audit the Audit clear it up. He weighed in on it, and he said in the majority of states he thinks it's the case that if you refuse a field test, no matter what, that it's likely an automatic suspension. I'm happy to honor the bet, but I feel like we still haven't gotten a definitive answer to this, and that's what I care about.
I mean, you can start looking up every state. You should just call cops. Can you call police stations or?
Well, I don't think cops would know, especially if this is cops aren't lawyers, right? Especially if this is between you and the DMV. I read one thing just now that said it only stipulates that you lose your license in the refusal of a test after an arrest, which would be
but if you refuse the test, you're automatically getting arrested.
Right, but that's you flipping the order around. Like
What?
It's saying that it's a suspension. It's a they revoke your license if you refuse a test after you are arrested for like suspicion of driving under the influence or something like that. Not for refusing and then being arrested. And I think that's the case in Florida as well. People are linking me shit in chat, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not satisfied that we have a definitive answer. But yeah.
So the way to think of it, I think, is to look at the field sobriety test as like whether or not the officer has probable cause to believe that you're under the influence. and then look at it that way, where it's like, okay,
I don't think.
they might be
I don't think that's true. I think they have probable cause before and without any field sobriety test. They don't need to do the field sobriety test to do probable cause for.
Yes,
because like I could drive like an erratic fucking lunatic, and they might just, and then they like they roll my window down, and I'm like fucking, my eyes are bloodshot, my breath, and they're like, we're going down to the station. They're like, and maybe I'll ask for a field sobriety test, maybe, but they could still, because you can pass a field sobriety test, and they'll still like take you in.
Yes, because it might still be the erratic driving.
Yeah, or other things. Yeah, some people are really good drunks.
Well, yeah, and if they can pull you over for something else, at the very least,
let's say they have reasonable suspicion that you're driving drunk, then they can use the refusal of a test for PC to arrest you to take you down to the station, right? Like that would be my understanding.
Maybe.
So in a way, yes, but also Destiny's correct where he's saying, the fact that you're driving erratically and all that.
Yeah, that can be PC.
But what I'm saying is, in a void where they're not stopping you for anything else other than the suspicion of driving drunk, you're not speeding, you're not, going through red lights, you're not failure to stop at a stop sign, any other reason that they have to pull you over that they can at least charge you with moving violation, and then go further into, investigation as to whether or not you're drunk.
So I think all they need is reasonable suspicion to request that you take the field tests.
Yes.
But then they would need probable cause to arrest you, and refusing the field test can give them probable cause.
And that's kind of the way I look at it, yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm reading in California, well, this is just some fucking law firm's website, so this isn't a definitive answer, that like, it's only an automatic license revoke. What the fuck is the word? Revokement? Whatever. They only revocation, sure. It's only an automatic revocation if you refuse a chemical test after being arrested. So that would be, by definition, it could only be the station test, not a field test.
In that case, but...
Well, that's California. That's a pretty big state. And, Dan wanted to flip-flop, whatever. I don't want to fucking relitigate with Dan. Maybe I'll do some research. Doesn't mean Dan will owe me money, but I feel like we haven't gotten a super satisfactory thing. Okay, I have a question about the Trump thing. Because I feel like the question on every conservative's lips is all these statutes about, now Hillary wasn't a sitting president, but that statute that Destiny was just reading about removal of whatever government records and that potentially being disqualifying for running for president, how do you think that would shake out for Hillary in the email situation?
I think that just in reading this code and understanding that esports time ago, my understanding is the intent is probably a really big deal here. Like carelessly storing something or having like substandard security practices is probably going to be treated a lot differently than like the intentional like mutilation or destruction of or concealment of government property. That'd be my guess. But
yeah, and then there's the issue of what has transpired as far as what people are saying in relation to him flushing stuff down the toilet, him, doing handwritten notes, and as well, Hillary's situation was kind of unique because she had been working alongside Department of State employees to set this up. So this is kind of, it was unprecedented, but at the same time, it was also kind of okay, so to speak, because she was working within the system versus you just haphazardly leaving classified information all over your house.
Personally, based on my sort of personal experience, don't think this should lend Hillary any plausible deniability because, like, I know how extensively people are trained on the safe storage of anyone with access to classified material. And she was basically, allowed access to some of the highest level classified material, and she was an OCA, which means that she was an actual authority on like classified material and like which items should be given original classification, which means like the moment she saw something, she should be able to know which stuff ought to be classified. And like a bunch of her emails were retroactively classified.
You say this, but my understanding, as I believe other people said, I think Comey even said this himself, is I thought that he said that this wasn't unique to Hillary though, and that there was a general lackadaisy or whatever of like at the State Department. Yeah, that for many years and many administrations.
That doesn't mean there's no deniability. that she was trained on the proper handling.
Well, no,
but
I'm saying that like there's probably a difference, or my guess is that there's probably a difference between like, yeah, you know, we move files around and it's kind of reckless, or maybe we're like not doing the proper procedure, versus Trump, who is not cooperating with multiple requests from the State Department to return materials and seems to be taking intentional steps to obfuscate or delete or hide or conceal stuff. That's like, I feel like those two things would be way different.
Somewhat
There's
true
also
for Hillary
a
too, right?
distinction between the amount of classified information, where I believe Comey's investigation turned up something like maybe 24 emails that were potentially classified or with some level of classification, versus you know, them talking about 15 boxes worth of materials of classified information. That's just
wait, and
in
also
a bedroom.
you mentioned it was the same for Hillary. My understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding was Hillary and her whole administration was cooperating at every single step of the way with the FBI.
So they got subpoenaed, and then over the next 3 weeks, like they I guess her team asked whoever was in charge of the servers to change the sort of retention period so that 30,000 emails would be deleted, and that was after the subpoena. Now I understand that there's some technicalities in the subpoena that said please hand over all like official like work related or government related documents or something like that, and that left the discretion up to her team to say, well, we think these ones are all personal in nature and not official or whatever, but we'll never know.
I'd have to look at the actual litigation hold or the actual subpoena in order to know that. But when you get a documents retention notice, generally speaking, it will lay out the specifics, and it will be very precise for the most part on what you're supposed to get rid of and what you're supposed to keep. Most people go overboard and just keep everything out of an abundance of safety to say that they're complying, which is a good thing to do. But that, you know, if you have like a particular date period, you continuing with your normal data retention policies for stuff that's outside the subpoena or legal holds time period or areas of concern is not necessarily wrong. So it's super finicky in terms of that.
One thing is for sure, there is definitely a distinction between Hillary's case and Trump's case, where he was in contact with the archives and he was basically just bucking them and like flipping them off.
Yeah, and they had already come by to apparently pick stuff up prior to this, and the hope was, if you the Newsweek article that I was talking about also talked about this, was the hope was to do it while he was out of town, so it would be as low key as possible. That's why the raid occurred while he was in New York, because they didn't want it to be
confrontation or something.
Yeah, or just generally to be intrusive to him while he's in his home. And of course he's in New York obviously for the civil case, so they figured he'd be focused on that more so than whatever documents they're coming to pick up.
So it's going to be pertaining to documents. It could be January 6th related. It could just be, it could have nothing to do with that. Damn, this is going to be, that's going to be a big statement.
I think it's safe to say it's not going to deal with anything that happens to deal with the New York AG's investigation.
Sure.
And I think that's about the only thing we can rule out conclusively. And that's about it. I mean,
there's no. It's going to be about Trump, right? There's no chance it's going to be about like the recent FBI attack or whatever, right? It wouldn't be something. They wouldn't do something stupid like that, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless they have, and I don't even think it would be. How should I put this? I don't think it would necessarily be a good idea to make it about January 6th unless they had like the smoking gun and they knew that they had the smoking gun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the most likely thing is that it got to them somehow, that, and somebody just mentioned in the chat that somebody in his inner circle was the one who called it in sort of as a whistleblower tip. That certain information was left out for people to see that really was super sensitive, that shouldn't have been seen, and either they got a good look at it or something was personally said to someone who shouldn't have received that information, and that's what they're concerned about, is him just leaving stuff out there or saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying.
That feels like, so these kind of like minor things, I feel like are things that it shouldn't be. Because if it is, you're like shaking up the hornet's nest for stuff that it feels like should have been kept under wraps a lot more.
Well, yes and no. It depends on the sensitivity of the material at issue, right? If you're like, hey, this is how our nuclear defense system works, or this is how like we're developing new military technology, then yes, I absolutely want them in on that.
Mm-hmm. Are you... go ahead.
Yeah, and something like that would warrant this kind of response.
For sure. Do you think that there is what is like the maximum penalty, or what's the charge, I guess, if something like that were to be the case? Like let's say he left open a book that showed where all of our nuclear submarines are, and Putin was in his house and he saw. Like, what is like what's like a worst case scenario for leaving these types of details out in the open?
I believe 1924 is 5 years and 2071 is 3 years. Let me look up 798 real quick, to, assuming that he gave something to somebody and give you that. But it's like 3 to 5 years.
Give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna read this. Okay.
All right, I'll let you guys.
Be careful.
I'm just gonna step out because I gotta get back to work.
Sure. Subpoena preceded search warrant and push to retrieve material from Trump. The Justice Department had sought the return of classified documents it believed might be at Mar-a-Lago before it sent FBI agents this week to look for them. So the Justice Department did try to get these documents back before the FBI was sent in. Assuming this is true. Former President Donald J. Trump received a subpoena this spring. And is spring really not capitalized? Do we not capitalize our seasons? Spring, fall, summer, winter. I didn't know that. Huh. Trump received a subpoena this spring in search of documents that federal investigators believed he had failed to turn over earlier in the year when he returned boxes of material he had improperly taken with him upon moving out of the White House, 3 people familiar with the matter said. Why? Why is he taking boxes of shit out of the White House? I super don't understand this. Was it just with like the rest of his shit accidentally, or what? What the fuck? How is this possible? The existence of the subpoena helps to flesh out the sequence of events that led to the search of Mr. Trump's Florida home on Monday by FBI agents seeking classified material they believed might still be there. Even after efforts by the National Archives and the Justice Department to ensure that it had been returned. The subpoena suggests that the Justice Department tried methods short of a search warrant to account for the material before taking the politically explosive step of sending FBI agents unannounced to Mar-a-Lago, Mr. Trump's home and members-only club. 2 people briefed on the classified documents that investigators believe remained at Mar-a-Lago indicated that they were so sensitive in nature and related to national security that the Justice Department had to act. The subpoena was first disclosed by John Solomon, a conservative journalist who also had been designated by Mr. Trump as one of the representatives to the National Archives. The existence of the subpoena is being used by allies of Mr. Trump to make a case that the former president and his team were cooperating with the Justice Department in identifying and returning the documents in question, and that the search was unjustified. The Justice Department declined to comment. Christina Bobb, a lawyer working for Mr. Trump, did not respond to messages. It is not clear what precise materials the subpoena sought or what documents the former president might have provided in response. The subpoena factored into a visit that Jay Bratt, the Justice Department's The subpoena factored into a visit that Jay Bratt, the Justice Department's top counterintelligence official, made with a small group of other federal officials to Mar-a-Lago weeks later in early June, one of the people said. The officials met with Mr. Trump's lawyer, Evan Corcoran. Mr. Trump, who likes to play host and has a long history of trying to charm officials inquiring about his practices, also made an appearance. During the visit, the officials examined a basement storage area where the former president had stowed materials that had come with him from the White House. A few days after the visit, Mr. Bratt emailed Mr. Corcoran and told him to further secure the remaining documents, which were kept in the storage area with a stronger padlock, one of the people said. This email was reported earlier by the Wall Street Journal. Then they subpoenaed surveillance footage from the club, which could have given officials a glimpse of who was coming in and out of the storage area, according to a person with knowledge of the matter. They received footage specifically from areas of the club where they believed the documents might have been stored, the person said. During the same period, investigators were in contact with a number of Mr. Trump's aides who had some visibility into how he stored and moved documents around the White House and who still worked for him, 3 people familiar with the event said. Among those whom investigators reached out to was Molly Michael, Mr. Trump's assistant in the Outer Oval Office, who also went to work for him at Mar-a-Lago, 3 people familiar with the outreach said. Investigators have also reached out to Derek Lyons, the former White House staff secretary, whose last day was December 18th, 2020, and who no longer works for Mr. Trump. Sorry. Wait, holy shit, where was I at? Oh, sorry. Who no longer works for Mr. Trump with questions about the process for handling documents, according to a person member of the outreach. My bad. Federal officials came to believe that Mr. Trump had not relinquished all the materials that left the White House with him at the end of his term, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation. Less than 2 months later, about 24 FBI agents, intentionally not wearing the blue windbreakers emblazoned with the agency's logo usually worn during searches, appeared at Mar-a-Lago with a warrant. The club was closed. Mr. Trump was in the New York area. The FBI startled a crew fixing a large fountain, a maid who was dusting, and a handful of Secret Service agents who guard the complex. The search warrant was broad, allowing the agents to investigate all areas of the club where classified materials might have been stored. They went through the basement, Mr. Trump's office, and at least part of his residence at the club. After hours of searching, they left with several boxes that were not filled to the brim, and in at least some cases simply contained sealed envelopes of material that the agents took and were otherwise empty, one person familiar with the search said. The person said that the FBI left behind a 2-page manifest of what was taken. Mr. Trump's team has declined to disclose the contents of the search warrant. A number of organizations, including the New York Times, are seeking in federal court to have it unsealed. Some senior Republicans have been warned by allies of Mr. Trump not to continue to be aggressive in criticizing the Justice Department and the FBI over the matter because it is possible that more damaging information relating to the search will become public. When Mr. Trump left the White House after refusing to concede that he had lost the 2020 election and seeking frantically to stay in power, a number of boxes of materials made their way from the West Wing to Florida. In the boxes were a mash of papers along with items like a raincoat and golf balls, according to people briefed in the contents. The National Archives tried for months after Mr. Trump left office to retrieve the material, engaging in lengthy discussions with his representatives to acquire what should have been properly stored by the archives under the Presidential Records Act. When archivists recovered 15 boxes this year, they discovered several pages of classified material and referred the matter to the Justice Department, but officials later came to believe that additional classified information remained at Mar-a-Lago. Some of Mr. Trump's advisors have maintained that they were trying all along to cooperate with federal officials and had kept an open line of communication, but others familiar with federal officials' efforts to recover the documents have said that Mr. Trump resisted returning property that belonged to the government despite being told that he needed to. Some of Mr. Trump's informal advisors outside his direct employ have insisted to him that he can claim the documents are personal items and keep them. Jeez. So what's the TLDR? He's got a bunch of boxes of shit at his house. They've been trying to work to get him back. Some people say he's been cooperating. Some people say he hasn't. Agents showed up to get the materials. Supposedly they are incredibly sensitive around the nature of national defense. Supposedly. So, yeah, Trump's probably going to go with the, well, you know, we tried our best, but damn, I guess we'll see what happens. I'll be right back before the Merrick Garland thing. 1 second.
Who audits the audit that audits? W. Chen, as a kid, a friend told me his dad had to blow into a device to start his truck so no one could jack it. I told my dad, and he busted out laughing. BRB gonna go drive drunk to prove Dan is right. Hey Destiny and Loki living in a tent are in, and your videos keep me entertained and love seeing your debates stay based. Sending positivity, my dude. Heart, heart, heart. I don't know if you've talked about this yet, but are you going to talk about the What is a Woman documentary? Also, I love you.
This investigation is very unfair. When will Merrick Garland investigate Obama for being a Eurocock? Here is a list of what the crooked FBA took from my home. 1. Obama. All right, I'll come clean. I did IT. You caught me. Yes, I took them. I took Michelle Obama's panties that she left at the White House. And I would have gotten away with IT too if IT worked for this gnome streamer. Why, Stephen, just let me coon. Wow, guys, I can't believe what happened. I was just driving down the road and this guy came out of nowhere and cut me off. Very rude. I gave him the finger and he rolled down his window and called me a fatty. Is this true? Am I a fatty?
All right. If this is, this has to be a huge announcement, dude. If it's some dumb shit, like.
If Merrick shows an anime body pillow collection, he will try to say it's mine. It isn't. My niece loves anime and I bought them for her. Don't listen to his lies. I don't even know what anime is.
Rewind, you missed it? Yeah. Do you know what would be the ultimate? Why do people keep saying change your title? It says Merrick Garland speaking at 1430 EST. What do I need to change my title to? The ultimate 180 would be they come out and they say that they went into Trump's house and they got the most important classified document at all. Or document of all. And it's fucking Hunter Biden's laptop. Oh no. And now they're moving forward with charging Joe Biden with crimes. Oh my god, it'd be like the Sansa and Littlefinger thing. You've been charged with sedition and treason against your country. How do you respond to these charges? Lord Joseph Biden. Oh no. Or Obama's real birth certificate. Oh no. I will never stop reminding people that till the day that I die. Trump was one of the big dudes that was pushing that. That was like his initial, I don't want to say it was his claim to fame. That's not true. He was famous before then, but he was a huge proponent of that birther theory. When everybody else was ready to drop and move on, not Trump, dude. He was ready to go all the fucking way with that shit. It was so cringe.
Welcome to the Justice Department.
Oh, nice mic, dipshit. That's right, we got things for you. Who is Merrick Garland? Wait, am I... Oh, okay. Now you mind-fucked me into thinking that I was, like, mixing up Merrick, like, the streamer girl. Shut up. You're mind-fucking me. Why are Hassan and Vosh not streaming right now? What the fuck? My political rivals.
Okay, just doing one more mic check.
Mic check.
1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Welcome to the Justice Department.
Oh, it was a serious question, though?
Okay, testing. Testing. Justice 1, 2, 3.
He's our Attorney General. He's the top guy, the top dog in the DOJ. Top G, as one might say. Do we like him or do we not like him? Like Merrick Garland? Yeah, well, everybody likes Merrick Garland, okay? We're Democrats, of course we do. Are you fucking kidding me? I need power to kick this off. Blum blum blum. New PoE announcement at 4. Are you ready to tank all of our streaming momentum with Dungeons and Dragons? I know I'm ready. Yeah, DnD Chad's in. Play the sus theme. No, how am I getting attacked? Oh. Can you guys fuck off, please? For God's sake, end the campaign. It's the never-ending campaign, my dude. It's never gonna end. Well, this is great. They're doing a Destiny stream. He'll be right back. This is what it feels like when I go AFK, guys. Oh, true, yeah, these guys don't even have donos. Well, I guess technically Trump is begging for donos all the time, huh? Hold on, fuck. Did Keffels make 100K yet, guys? I gotta check. Nope. Damn, she's stuck at 82,000. Wait, did they remove some? I thought it was 87,000 earlier. Good copium about the donation goal increases. I feel like people are being willfully obtuse about how expensive lawyers are. I mean, how expensive is a lawyer to fight a case like this? What do you think you need? A $5,000, maybe $15,000 retainer? How expensive do you think lawyers are? Not every single... the problem is, one, this person probably doesn't have any actual direct... He's never hired a lawyer before. And then two, he just has no idea like what the scale of any of these cases are. Like, it's not like she's about to sue the entire fucking government and she's launched on some fucking 10,000, fucking employee huge escapade against the federal Canadian, right? Like, whatever work she's talking about, the retainer is going to be in the low 5 figures, probably 4 figures. Do you think that every lawyer is like every single court case is $700,000? The fuck out of here. How stupid. Lawyers are really expensive. The fuck out of here. Come on. Not to mention, no, I'm not trying to be transphobic, but like, you're a trans person and like dead naming is brought up and all this shit. You can probably get this shit fucking pro bono, or you can get it donated to you, or the fucking federal government might take your case. Like, Jesus, come on, like, this is like the hottest fucking political issue shit of the day. You're not gonna be struggling for money to have, like, just imagine that. Like, girl is arrested by police unlawfully, or not unlawfully, but like due to false threats made by other people, which is true. Police dead name her the entire time, which is also true. Like, bro, you're never not going through with that case if you think you have one. Come on. Dumb. Every time a lawyer's involved, it's like $500,000, man. Like, sorry, hold on. I'm working my thesis. Oh, bro, I'm cringing. How would you not, like, I'm actually, like, cringing. Like, my asshole is actually, like, clenched so hard reading stuff like this. It's, like, unbelievable. Like, why? Like, tweet at Jesus next. Jesus, you've been waiting 2,000 years to make yourself apparent. Are you going to be brave and do it today when we need you the most, when I'm getting swatted? Guys, hold on. I just got a fucking email. Holy shit. At doj.gov. Hold on one second. They email me right now. Steve, about another second, it's been brought to our attention that you are restreaming our conference. If you want Merrick Garland to appear, it is crucial that you have at least 3,000 likes on your YouTube stream. Otherwise, we're going to hold him in the back room for a while. Guys, 3,000 likes on my YouTube stream. Come on, guys. 2 R's. There's 2 R's in Merrick Garland. Wait, are there? Oh, shit. True. Vosh, read, twit longer. Wait, what is this? Why did this show up on my timeline? Vosh, Vosh. Nice bait. Good one. Any twit longers about me today, or are we in the clear? His name is short for America Olive Garland. Nice. DJ Academics called you a lame nigga. Is that true?
Okay, so this nigga, I think he's the nigga on the left is on some red pill shit. This nigga over here, he's supposed to be like not the red pill. He's like lame nigga. But bro, at the end of the day,
I don't think that was an insult. I think that was okay.
Hey, this is why like this is the new thing. Niggas don't want to see y'all dudes argue with females no more. Y'all got to argue with men who can really talk about some shit. You feel me?
Debate. I can't just go based off of like this is my beliefs.
Let's say that you don't run into anybody that.
Let me just bring it back because I think you. Also, I'm not going to put on something that makes me uncomfortable, and that's
Independent thought process, not because somebody else tells you not to. Okay, that's what a 16-year-old does. I think you can do better than that.
okay. Well, the government's telling you to wear it, so you're just doing.
What?
I'm talking to you right now. You're saying?
Unfortunately, Naj or whoever the fuck you brought up, Kim Kardashian, are doing to women. That's what you were doing.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Mansions and bitches.
Oh, this is hilarious.
It is the most empty hollow.
Yo, this is because in reality, now I agree with this nigga too.
On your stream.
Wait, which one? Am I allowed to say that? Wait, agree with who? I don't know what he's talking about.
Did you hear about this? New York and LA is in a state of emergency right now because of the monkey. Is that not
because of
exactly?
monkey.
What does that sound exactly like?
I think.
Wait. Let's go back. Okay, we're not gonna do the jump into 50 million topics. Okay, let's back up for a second. Okay, when you're.
By the way, in reality and in fairness, you see this nigga right over the left. I've seen him a couple times. I like his stuff, but I've only heard him talk to dumbass chicks. The first time I seen him talk to a nigga, he got spun like a gig.
You're talking to people on your. Oh, he agrees with me. He thinks I'm a top G platform. Okay, and I hear you talk. So I hear this to Abba. I hear things from Andrew Tate as well a lot like this. Okay, I hear you guys talk about what it means to be successful, what it means to achieve, what it means to accomplish things. And all I ever hear you guys talk about are cars, mansions, 30 hoes. Why?
Because that's dope. That's fun.
Do you understand that when you talk about like a spiritual void, do you think that a spiritual void exists today in the Western world?
Yeah, I believe in God.
Okay, when you talk about those things, those are the exact types of journeys that lead you to the spiritual void. Are people pursuing Bugattis, mansions, and bitches? It is the most empty, hollow life imaginable.
That's not the end goal, but that's just something I want. That's something I would
like to have.
That's not what's going to make me be all end all happy. Like I want to have a wholesome life. I want to have kids. I want to have a good family. I want to just have a well-rounded, enjoyable life. And I don't think that's possible. Like for the life I want, I don't think it's possible in the West.
That's cap. Hey, listen, this is another thing about this. This is why, like, there's one notable fraud in this whole shit. This nigga name is Rulu Tumasi or some shit. That nigga, he's writing books teaching niggas how to fuck bitches, but he's married. Like, how about you teach people how to get in successful relationships? How you teach people how to have good families? A lot of these dudes, like, you know what I mean? It's like hacks. It's like you're just getting off trying to teach people how to get pussy while y'all reality isn't really that. Y'all married, this, that, and third. Or some of these people just never been in a relationship. You know what I mean? I don't see none of these niggas. And this is why, like, you realize this is a fact. I'm telling you this right now, this is a fact. None of these niggas is teaching people how to be in successful relationships. They're teaching you how to fuck. Not one of them. Like, yo, this is how you should be in a successful relationship. you know, a relationship that's happy, something that you can build towards. This is how you find a woman you should have kids with. None of that shit. They're teaching virgins how to finally get some pussy. And it's even the niggas that's married. They don't even want to teach you how to figure out, like, you ever heard that nigga Rulu teach none of y'all, like, oh, hey, this is how you figure out if a woman could be your wife? Oh, this is how you treat your wife? Man, I heard that goofy talking, that goofy was saying some shit like, yeah, I got a wife, but you know what I mean? Y'all should always exercise the option. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, nigga, you never said you cheat on your bitch ever. You cheat on your wife or no? He ain't never say it once. He don't say it, he don't brag on it, he don't say nothing about that. But when he giving y'all advice, yeah, you know, if you have value, man, you should exercise your options. Nigga, when are you going to exercise your options? Frauds! Complete frauds.
Anymore because people are so brainwashed. People
yeah, but you're brainwashing them, right? You're the one that's brainwashing them in that direction.
How am I brainwashing them?
Because you're telling them that they need Bugattis, mansions, and bitches to be happy.
I'm not saying I...
Who's actually getting in Discord? I get in Discord. Hold on, I get in Discord. Yo, boom, I see you in chat and get in Discord, boy. Let me keep playing this shit.
I want to get that.
I don't know who DJ Academics is, but he seems like a real dude, real cool guy.
That too, and I know they want that because they play GTA all day, they play these video games all day, and they watch porn all day. So of course they want 10 bitches in a mansion, but that's not the end goal. And I'm not telling them they have to do that. Like I have Luke on my stream all the time too, and he just wants to have one wife. So I'm not saying you have to do anything. I'm not telling people to do anything. I'm just saying my opinion. People don't follow me blindly.
What you're
people
doing
who watch
right
your
now.
stream all agree with you. People who watch your stream all like, yes, take another. Like you know, you kind of have an echo chamber of people who agree with you.
I don't have an echo chamber who agree with me. It was flattering you think that. But what you are doing is, you are doing to men what, was it Nicki Minaj or whoever the fuck you brought up, Kim Kardashian, are doing to women. That's what you are doing. It's the exact same
I'm preaching
thing.
self-improvement. I'm saying, guys, we need to go improve to get
Self-improve. You don't improve yourself by buying cars, houses, and fucking.
Well, you cannot buy a house. You cannot fuck a lot of women without becoming a better man. I'm telling them we need to go and get it. We need to improve ourselves. We need to.
Man, that nigga sounds stupid as hell, bro, man. Like, if you tell your audience out, everybody about to get like a bunch of Bugatti. Man, these things ain't finna own no Lambos, man. Y'all niggas got to get in reality. Hold on, let me see if I could,
What is this?
So you're just gonna meme about Keffels after Vosh activated the drama around them just because Destiny's involved. They needed help during Destiny's hate brigade, but you motherfuckers stood back and stood by. Jesus fucking Christ, why are you all so fucking scared of that degenerate piece of shit? Deplatform already. All you motherfuckers have the community. What is this? Size to do it, you don't. He's terrorized enough fucking people. Destiny wants her dead, and you're just memeing. I don't even know what this is in reference to. Dumb. Do you see the before after pics of the missile strike on Russia's Crimean air base? The one they claimed didn't happen. Damn, seems like we're missing some buildings. Oh, I think I read, oof, I'm gonna be honest, this was a headline read, but this was theoretically the single largest day of Russian Air Force losses in all of history. Is that true? Jesus Christ. Yes. If you don't count Vietnam. Is Russia the Soviet Union or not for this? Russia would not be the Soviet Union for this. So I don't, unless crazy military shit has happened in Vietnam from 90s onwards, which maybe I missed something. But yeah, maybe it was the ghost of Kiev that went and blew up all those air bases, or that air base, yeah. Hold on. Also, wait, just so I can know the etiquette. I don't have to fuck that T-jumper dude or the no-jumper guy if I go on his show, right? That's not like a real thing, is it? I'm not like obligated to some shit that I don't know about, am I? Love how quickly rumors were spread in the DG community that the reason Keffels was swatted was for CPU on her computer. Did this come from the DGG community? What? Somebody said that No Jumper. No one has said this at all to my knowledge. People were linking me and saying that No Jumper and his girlfriend or whatever. I don't know. Apparently, they always shoot an OnlyFans video with their guests. And then I looked it up, and apparently this is kind of true. So I don't know. I'm just checking. Damn. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck these people do. They have a porn star podcast. Okay.
Is a thing with women. They proved this with chimpanzees.
What top 5 you smoking on, Kendrick? Cause my top 5 is Drake, 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 Drake.
If we broke it off, then you know it wasn't painless. If she got a watch, then you know it's not a stainless. I was out here fucking.
Why did he? Maybe he was really tired. Maybe he was really tired. Where is Merrick? Hello. I don't know if you care. Twitch news. Custom tags are here. You can now enter your own tags to describe your stream. Okay, why do I care? Wait, is this from StarCraft?
Twitch viewers, Twitch right now is doing a huge discoverability test on their platform. You may not have access.
Did they transition? Or is it the same How unfortunate. What a weird name.
Glorious memory.
Loco TV and Loco TV, but with a C instead of a K. What are the chances? This guy makes a lot of StarCraft 2 videos. Do you think the viewership is real? Or... No, come on. Stop being dumb.
Glorious memories from the... Glorious memories from the StarCraft 2 midnight launch. Bro, why the f, dude? Why the?
He's getting like 3 million views a month off of just StarCraft. It's not bad. 5 million views several months ago, in a month. Is the viewership really there for?
Hello everyone and welcome back to a best of 5. The difference is though that, well, obviously the Oracle is also it's gonna, well, superpower that battery or that pylon right over there, and suddenly those stalkers can come out a little bit quicker. Blink at this point is done. Alright, this is the first time I believe that Dark sees it as well, and honestly this is a really good battle right now for the Protoss player. Dark has been desperately trying to make units, but he doesn't really have that much. Honestly, he's got very little. Yeah, he invested into... So he spent a chunk of resources. Yeah, well, at the very least finishes up. Yeah, I don't think that it's...
Okay. Check out Artosis. Oh, that channel. He's not uploading very much on his channel. Oh, I see what's going on. Guys, we don't have 3,000 likes on the stream yet. Merrick is not coming out until... I need another 500 to 600 likes, guys, on my YouTube stream. Are you guys even trying? God, there's so many great memes that came from this fucking show. Per White House official, they did not know Garland was going to make a statement. I heard about it through the news media. Wait, oh no. This is true. They do this in restaurants. They bring it out on like whenever you're at, wait, if you don't know the reference, they bring out they bring out like a fajita, but it's on like a skillet. You can hear it like sizzling through the whole fucking restaurant. Sorry. I'm on a lot of devices right now, guys. Okay, hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's check our fire making. Did we get 3,000 likes on stream? Oh, good job. Okay. Garland should be here soon, guys. I'll send him the message. One sec. Texting him. Okay, we're working it. We've got 3 logs at 99, okay? Fire making is almost maxed out. 3 more days, guys.
Oh, hold on, my bad. My bad. I was wiping some shit off. Pause.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your 2-minute warning. The speaker will be the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland. Thank you.
2-minute warning. Jesus, am I in trouble? Shit, let me use the restroom real quick if we're waiting. 2 minutes, hold on.
Exiting narrator. El narrador se ha cerrado inesperadamente. Si esto no se esperaba, visite el sitio web oficial de Microsoft.
I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Good afternoon. Since I became Attorney General, I have made clear that the Department of Justice will speak through its court filings and its work. Just now, the Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant and property receipt relating to a court-approved search that the FBI conducted earlier this week. That search was of premises located in Florida belonging to the former president. The department did not make any public statements on the day of the search. The former president publicly confirmed the search that evening, as is his right. Copies of both the warrant and the FBI property receipt were provided on the day of the search to the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search. The search warrant was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of probable cause. The property receipt is a document that federal law requires law enforcement agents to leave with the property owner.
Get to the
The
good
department
shit.
filed the motion to make public the warrant and receipt in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter. Faithful adherence to the rule of law is the bedrock principle of the Justice Department and of our democracy. Upholding the rule of law means applying the law evenly, without fear or favor. Under my watch, that is precisely what the Justice Department is doing. All Americans are entitled to the even-handed application of the law, to due process of the law, and to the presumption of innocence. Much of our work is by necessity conducted out of the public eye. We do that to protect the constitutional rights of all Americans and to protect the integrity of our investigations. Federal law, long-standing department rules, and our ethical obligations prevent me from providing further details as to the basis of the search at this time.
What are you even here for?
There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter.
Duh.
Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly.
Yeah, no shit,
Where
Sherlock.
possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken. Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents
this is
and
going to be a big
prosecutors.
nothing. Oh my
I will
god.
not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants. Every day, they protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, and other threats to their safety while safeguarding our civil rights. They do so at great personal sacrifice and risk to themselves. I am honored to work alongside them.
At least
This
they
is
unsealed
all
the
I can
warrant,
say
I
right
guess.
now. More information will be made available in the appropriate way and at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Attorney General, the former
He's
president
not
of
answering
the
questions. Whoa.
Thank you all for your questions, but as I said,
He's
this is
not
all I
answering
can say at
anything.
this time.
Yeah. Why didn't they? Why did? What? How long until the warrant is unsealed? Why didn't they just wait to do it until after it was unsealed and then talk about it? He didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was literally texting Garland earlier today. He didn't tell me he was going to cuck us this hard. He didn't tell me that. He said it was going to be lit. Well, thanks for the likes, Garland. motion on seals here. Well, I don't. Well, okay. Well, there's literally nothing to talk about now. Now we're back at square one. Can you put donos back on? Yeah, sure thing, dude.
They said, sir, what is this room in the back here? What the fuck do you think it is? I said, it's my dog Wart's room. A very strong room.
Cool. Surely you can get a 900. Yeah, you know what?
What was national
Let's throw it on a
security
900.
again?
You're going to have to Google that one, Trump.
Can I take it to Mar-a-Lago?
I wouldn't do that, Trump.
Stephen, I already have.
Fuck you, Destiny. Me and Alberta also scan ferret lol scan ferret lol scan ferret lol scan
Are
scan
you
ferret lol.
serious? Unbelievable. I think the calibration is off.
No.
I mean, come on.
No.
Give it up. Give it up.
No. I'm using their sub to build credit. DT also we're going to build a wall and make the biters pay for it. They're not sending their best and we need to explore space and make Spidertrons.
True.
I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better. I'm not some weak-kneed fucking crybaby that goes around fucking apologizing all the time.
Okay. It's called functional strength, guys. Okay, what do you think is more annoying? People that fall into certain narratives or people that fall into certain meta narratives? Because I've noticed this is something that'll happen. When I watch something on stream, obviously people are looking to my reaction to see if they should laugh or not. But there's always at least one person that has found a way to make themselves better. It's like, this guy did it earlier, Kira or Keisha or somebody earlier in chat did it too. We're like, oh, streamer laughs, now I laugh. Streamer laugh, now I laugh. Like, some people, like, who's the bigger loser? The person watching the streamer that's like, oh, he laughed, I guess it's funny, versus the guy like staring at you, waiting for the streamer to laugh. And he's like, wait, oh, he laughed, streamer laughed, now you guys are laughing, you're the sheep. Like, chill. Oh my God. True.
Hi everybody, it's Tony Santoro. Today, the on switch on, waiting to die.
Fuck OnlyFans. Kylie Jenner just gave us strap to her for a whole week. Is she the baddest in the game right now? Let me say no. Never. Okay. What? The real Rust experience loud. Jesus. Jesus. Holy shit.
Burning on just like a